Chapter 25. The Egg and I. As Harry had no idea how long a bath he would need to work out the secret of the golden egg, he decided to do it at night when he would be able to take as much time as he wanted. Reluctant though he was to accept more favor from Cedric, he also decided to use the perfect bathroom for fewer people were allowed in there. So it was much less likely that he would be disturbed. Harry planned his excursion carefully because he had been caught out of the bed and out of the bounds by Fitz the caretaker in the middle of the night once before and had no desire to repeat the experience. The invisibility clock would of course be essential and as an added precaution, Harry thought he would take the address map which next to the clock was the most useful aid to rule breaking Harry owned. The map showed the whole of Hogwarts, including its many shortcuts and secret pathways, and most important of all, it revealed the people inside the castle as minuscule labeled dots moving around the corridors so that Harry would be forward if somebody was approaching the bathroom. On Thursday night, Harry sneaked up to the bed, put on the clock, crept back downstairs, and just as he had done on the night when Hagrid had shown him the dragon, waited for the portrait hole to open. This time it was Ron who waited outside to give a flat lady password. Banana fritters. Good luck, Ron muttered, climbing into the room as Harry crept out past him. It was awkward moving under the clock tonight because Harry had the heavy egg under one arm and the map held in front of his nose with the other. However, the moonlight corridors were empty and silent, and by checking the map at strategic intervals, Harry was able to ensure that he wouldn't run into anywhere he wanted to avoid. When he reached the statue of Boris, the bewildered looking wizard with his gloves on the wrong hand, he located the right door, leaned close to it. It muttered the password, pine fresh, just as Cedric had told him. The door cracked open. Harry slipped inside, bolted the door behind him, and pulled off the invisibility clock, looking around. His immediate reaction was that it would be worth being perfect just to be able to use this bathroom. It was softly lit by a splendid candle-filled candlelight, and everything was made of white marble, including what looked like an empty rectangular swimming pool sunk into the middle of the floor. About 100 golden taps stood all around the pool's edge, each with different colored jewels set into the handle. There was also a diving board, long white line curtain hung at the window. A large pile of fluffy white towels sat in the corner, and there was a single golden framed painting on the wall. It featured a blonde mermaid who was fast asleep on the rock. Her long hair over her face, it fluttered every time she snored. Harry moved forward, looking around, his footsteps echoing off the walls. Magnificent through the bathroom was, and quite keen though he was to try out a few of those taps. Now he was here, he couldn't quite suppress the feeling that Cedric might have been having him on. How on earth was this supposed to help solve the mystery of the egg? Nevertheless, he put on the fluffy towel, the clock, the map, and the egg at the side of the swimming pool, police-sized bath, then knelt down and turned on a few of the taps. He could tell at once that they carried different sort of bubble bath mixed with the water, though it wasn't bubble bath as Harry had ever experienced it. One tap gushed pink and blue bubble the size of football, another poured ice white frame so thick that Harry thought it would have supported his weight if he had cared to taste it. A third sent heavily perfumed purple cloud hovering over the surface of the water. Harry amused himself for a while turning the taps on and off, particularly enjoying the effect of one to just bounce off the surface of the water in large arc. Then, when the dead pool was full of hot water, foam, and bubble, which took a very short time considering its size, Harry turned over all the taps, pulled off his pajamas, slippers, and dressing gown, and slid into the water. It was so deep that his feet barely touched the bottom, and he actually did a couple of lengths before swimming back to the side and treading water, staring at the egg. Highly enjoyable though it was to swim in hot and foamy water with cloud of different color steam wafting all around him. No stroke of brilliance came to him, no sudden burst of understanding. Harry stretched out his arm, lifted the egg in his wet hand and opened it. The wailing, screeching sound filled the bathroom, echoing and reverberating off the marble walls, but it sounded just as incomprehensible as ever, if not more so with all the echoes. He snapped it shut again, worried that the sound would attract Fletch, wondering whether that had been Cedric's plan, and then make him jump so badly that they dropped the egg with clat away across the bathroom floor. Someone spoke. I had tried putting in water if I were you. Harry had snored a considerable moment and fell in shock. He stood up, sputtering, and saw the ghost of a very glum-looking girl sitting cross-legged on top of one of the taps. It was Morning Myrtle, who was usually to be here sobbing in the yes vent of a toilet 3 floors below. Myrtle, Harry said in outrage, I'm not wearing anything. The foam was so dense that this hardly mattered, but he had a nasty feeling that Myrtle had been spying on him from out of one of the taps ever since he had arrived. I closed my eyes when you got in, she said, blinking at him through her thick spectacles. You haven't been to see me for ages. Yeah, well, said Harry, bending his knees slightly. Just go make sure, absolutely sure, Myrtle couldn't see anything but his head. I'm not supposed to come into your bathroom, am I? It's a girl's once. You don't used to care, said Myrtle miserably. You used to be in there all the time. This was true, though only because Harry, Ron, and Hermione had found Myrtle's out of order toilet a convenient place to brew Polyjuice potion in secret. A forbidden potion that had turned him and Ron into living replica of the Crab and Goyle for an hour, so that they could sneak into Slytherin's common room. I got told off for going in there, said Harry, which was half true. Percy had once caught him coming out of Myrtle's bathroom. I thought I had better not come back after that. Oh, I see, said Myrtle, picking at a spot on her chin in a more sort of way. Well, anyway, I had tried the egg in the water. That's what Cedric Diggory did. Have you been spying on him too? Said Harry indigently. What do you do? Sneak up there in the evening to watch the perfect tech baths? Sometimes, said Martial, rather slyly, but I never come out to speak to anyone before. I'm honored, said Harry darkly. You keep your eyes shut. He made sure Martel had her glasses well covered before hoisting himself out of the bath, wrapping a towel firmly around his waist and going to retrieve the egg. Once he was back in the water, Martel peered through her finger and said, Go on then, open it under the water. Harry lowered the egg beneath the foamy surface and opened it. At this time it did not well. A gurgling song was coming out of it, a song whose word he couldn't distinguish through the water. "You need to put your head under it too," said Martial, who seemed to be thoroughly enjoying bossing him around. "Go on." Harry took a great breath and slid under the surface. And now, sitting on the marble bottom of the bubble-filled bath, he heard a chorus of Eric's voice singing to him from the open egg in his hand. "Come, seek us where our voice sounds. We cannot sing above the ground, and while you are searching, ponder this. We have taken what you'll sorely miss. An hour long you'll have to look, and to recover what we look. But past an hour, the prospect's black. Too late, it's gone, it won't come back." Harry let himself float back upward and broke the bubbly surface, shaking his hair out of his eyes. "Hear it?" said Martel. "Yea, come seek us where our voices sound, and if I need persuading, hang on, I need to listen again." He sank back beneath the water. It took three more underwater renditions of the egg song before Harry had it memorized. Then he trod water for a while, thinking hard while Martel sat and watched him. "I have got to go and look for people who can't use their voices above the ground," he said slowly. "Oh, who could that be? Slow, aren't you?" He had never seen morning matter so cheerful, apart from the day when a dose of Polyjuice potion had given Hermione the hairy face and tail of the cat. Harry stared around the bathroom, thinking if the voice could only be heard underwater, then it made sense for them to belong to underwater creatures. He ran this theory past Martel, who smirked at him. "Well, that's what Degree taught," she said. He lay there, talking to himself for ages about it. Ages and ages. Nearly all the bubbles had gone underwater. Harry said slowly, "Martel, what live in the lake apart from the giant squid?" "Oh, all sorts," she said. "I something go down there. Sometimes don't have any choice. If someone flushes my toilet when I am not expecting it." Trying not to think about morning matter zooming down a pipe to the lake with the content of a toilet, Harry said, "Well, does anything in there have a human voice?" Hang on. Harry's eye had fallen on the picture of the snowing mermaid on the wall. "Martel, there aren't no people in there, are there?" "Oh, very good," she said, her glasses clicking. "It took much longer than that, and that meant when Martel jerked her head toward the mermaid with an expression of a great dislike on her glum face, giggling and showing off and flashing her fins. "That's it, isn't it?" said Harry excitedly. "Second task to go to find no people in the lake but he suddenly realized what he was saying, and he felt the excitement drain out of him, and though someone had just pulled a plug in his stomach, he wasn't very good swimmer. He had never had much practice. Dudley had had lesson in his youth, but Aunt Putania and Uncle Vernon, no doubt hoping that Harry would draw one day, hadn't bothered to give him any. A couple of lengths of this bath were all very well, but the lake was very large and very deep, and mere people would surely live there at bottom. "Martel," Harry said slowly, "how am I supposed to breathe?" At this, Martel's eye filled with sudden tear again. "Tactless," the muttered, groping in her robe for a handkerchief. "What's tackle?" said Harry, bewildered. "Talking about breathing in front of me," she said shrilly, and her voice echoed loudly around the bathroom. "When I can't, when I haven't, not for ages." She buried her face in her handkerchief and sniffed loudly. Harry remembered how Archie Martel had always been about being dead, but none of the other ghosts he knew made such a fuss about it. Sorry, he said impatiently. I didn't mean, I just forgot. Oh, yes, very easy to forget. Martel's dead, said Martel, glumping, looking at him. Out of shallow eyes, nobody missed me, even when I was alive. Took them hours and hours to find my body. I know I was sitting here waiting for them. Or you caught my came into the bathroom. Are you in here again, sulking Martel? She said, because Professor Dippet asked me to look for you. And then she saw my body. Oh, she didn't forget it until her dying day. I made sure of that, followed her around and reminded her. I did remember at her brother's wedding. But Harry wasn't listening. He was thinking about the Mere People song again. We have done what you'll sorely miss. That sounded as though they were going to steal something of his, something he had to get back. What were they going to take? And then, of course, we went to the Ministry of Magic to stop me stalking her, and I had to come back here and live in my toilet. Good, said Harry vaguely. Well, I'm a lot further on than I was. Shut your eyes again, will you? I'm getting out. He retrieved the egg from the bottom of the bath, climbed out, dried himself, and pulled on his pajamas and dressing gown again. Will you come and visit me in my bathroom again sometime? Morning Martel asked mournfully as Harry picked up the invisibility clock. I'll try, Harry said, though privately thinking the only way he had be visiting Martel bathroom again was if every other toilet in the castle got blocked. See you, Martel. Thank you for your help. Bye bye, she said gloomily. And as Harry put on the invisibility cloak, he saw her zoom back up the tap. Out of the dark corridor, Harry examined the murderous map to check that the coast was still clear. Yes, and dots belonged to Flitch and his cat. Miss Norris were safely in their office. Nothing else seemed to be moving apart from Piers, though he was bouncing around the trophy room of the floor above. Harry had taken his first step back toward Gryffindor Tower when something else on the map caught his eye, something distinctly odd. Fuse was not the only thing that was moving. A single dot was flitting around a room in the bottom left-hand corner. Snape's office, but the dot wasn't labeled Severus Snape. It was Bartimaeus Crouch. Harry stared at the dot. Mr. Crouch was supposed to be too ill to go to work on to come to the Yale Ball. So, what was he doing sneaking into Hogwarts at 1 o'clock in the morning? Harry watched closely as the dot moved around and around the room, pausing here and there. Harry hesitated, thinking, and then his curiosity got the better of him. He turned and set off in the opposite direction toward the nearest staircase. He was going to see what Crouch was up to. Harry walked down the stair as quickly as possible, though the faces in some of the portraits still turned curiously at the squeak of the floorboard. The rustle of his pajama he kept along the corridor below, pushed aside a tapestry tray about halfway along, and proceeded down a narrower staircase, a shortcut that would take him down to floors. He kept glancing down at the map, wondering it just didn't seem in character somehow for correct law-abiding Mr. Krause to be sneaking around somebody else's office this late at night. And they halfway down the staircase, not thinking about what he was doing, not concentrating on anything but the peculiar behavior of Mr. Crouch. Harry's legs suddenly sank right through the quick step Neville always forgot to jump. He gave an ungainly wobble, and golden egg still damp from the bath seeped from under his arm. He lurched forward to try to catch it, but too late. The egg fell down the long staircase with a bang as loud as a bass drum on every step. The invisibility clock skipped. Harry snatched it, and the murderous map fluttered out of his hand and slid down 6 stairs, where sunk in the step to above his knee. He couldn't reach it. The golden egg fell through the tapestry at the bottom of the staircase, burst open, and began wailing loudly in the corridor below. Harry pulled out his wand and struggled to touch the murderous map to wipe in blank, but it was too far away to reach. Pulling the clock back over himself, Harry straightened up, listening hard, with his eyes screwed up with fear, and almost immediately, Hughes! It was the unmistakable hunting cry of Fleech, the caretaker. Harry could hear the rapid, suffering footsteps coming nearer and nearer, with his voice raised in fury. What's this racket? Wake up the whole castle, will you? I'll have to Peeves. I'll have you. Peeves, you'll. And what's it that? Flitt's footstep halted. There was a clink of metal, and the welling stopped. Flit had picked up the egg and closed it. Harry stood very still, one leg still jammed tightly in the magical step, listening. Any moment now, Flitch was going to pull aside the tapestry, expecting to see Pius. And there would be no Pius, but he came up the stair. He could spot the murderous map, the invisibility clock, or not. The map would show Harry Potter standing exactly where he was. Egg, Flitch said quietly at the foot of the stair. My sweet Mr. Norris was obviously with him. This is a Triwizard clue. This belonged to school champion. Harry felt sick. His heart was hammering very fast. Pius, Flitch roared clearly. You have been stealing. He ripped back the tapestry below, and Harry saw his horrible, punchy face and bulging red eyes, staring up dark and to Flitch's dear straight stare. Hiding, are you? He said softly. I'm coming to get you, Pius. You have got and stolen a Triwizard clue. Pius Dumbledore will have you out of here of this. You flitty, all-fearing poltergeist. Lee started to climb the stair, his screwy dust-colored cat, his heel, Mrs. Norris' lamp-like eye, so very like her master's, were fixed directly upon Harry. He had occasion before now to wonder whether the invisibility clock worked on cat. Fleet with appreciation he watched Fleet drawing nearer and nearer in old flannel dressing gown. He tried desperately to pull his trapped leg free, but he merely sank a few more inches and clock how Flinch was going to spot the map or walk right into him. Flinch, what's going on? Flinch stopped a few steps below Harry and turned. At the foot of the stair stood the only person who could make Harry's situation worse. Snape. He was wearing a long grey nightshirt and he looked livid. It's Pius, Professor, Fitch whispered malevolently. He threw the egg down the stairs. Snape climbed up the stair and stopped beside Fitch. Harry gritted his teeth, convinced his loudly thumping heart would give him away at any second. Pius, said Snape softly, staring at the egg in Fitch's hand, but Pius couldn't get into my office. This egg was in your office, Professor. Of course not, Snape. I heard banging and wailing. Yes, Professor, that was the egg. I was coming to investigate, Pius threw it, Professor, and when I passed my office, I saw that the torches were lit and a cupboard door was ajar. Somebody was been searching it, but Pius couldn't. I know he couldn't, Fleet. Snape snapped again. I sealed my office with a spell none but a wizard could break. Snape looked up the stairs, straight through Harry, and then down into corridor below. I want you to come and help me search for the intruder, Fleet. Yes, Professor. But Fleet looked yearningly up the stair, right through Harry, who could see that he was very reluctant to forego the chance of cornering Pius. Go, Harry peeled with him slightly. Go with Snape. Go, Mrs. Nares was peering around Flitch Lake. Harry had the distinct impression that she could smell him. Why had he filled that bath with so much perfume foam? The thing is, Professor, said Lynch plaintively, the headmaster will have to listen to me last time. Hughes has been stealing from a student. It might be my chance to get him thrown out of the castle once for all. Flinch, I don't give a damn about that French apologist. That's my office. That's clunk, clunk, clunk. Snape stopped talking very abruptly. He was Flitch both looked down at the foot of the stair. Harry saw Mad-Eye Moody limp into slide through the narrow gap between their heads. Moody was wearing his old travelling cloak over his nightshirt and leaning on his staff as usual. Pajama party, is it? He growled up the stair. Professor Snape and I heard noise, Professor, and Flitch at once. Pews, the apologist, throwing things around as usual, and then Professor Snape discovered that someone had broken into his office. Shut up, Snape hissed to Flitch. Moody took a step closer to foot of the stair. Harry saw Moody's magical eye travel over Snape, and then unmistakably onto him. Harry's heart gave a horrible jolt. Moody could see through invisibility cloak. He alone could see the full strangeness of the scene. Snape in his nightshirt, Lich clutching the egg, and Harry tapped in the stair behind him. Moody lopsided gas of a mouth open in surprise. For a few seconds, he and Harry stared straight into each other's eyes. Then Moody closed his mouth and turned his blue eye upon Snape again. Did I hear that correctly, Snape? He asked slowly. Someone broke into your office. It is unimportant, said Snape coldly. On the contrary, growled Moody, it is very important. Who had warned to break into your office? A student. I dare say, said Snape. Harry could see a wen flickering horrible on the Snape's grey temple. It has happened before. Potion ingredient have gone missing from my private store cupboard. Student attempting illicit mixture, no doubt. Reckon they were after potion ingredients. Oh, said Moody. Not hiding anything else in your office, are you? Harry saw the edge of Snape's solemn face turn into nasty brick color. The vein in the temple bulging more rapidly. You know I am hiding nothing, Moody, he said in a soft and dangerous voice, as you are searching my office pretty thoroughly yourself. Moody's face twisted onto smile. Horror's privilege. Snape Dumbledore told me to keep an eye. Dumbledore happened to trust me, said Snape through clenched teeth. I refuse to believe that he gave you order to search my office. Suppose Dumbledore trusts you, growled Moody. He's a trusting man, isn't he? He uses and mouse button. Let's say there are secrets that don't come off, Snape. Snape's head never came off. You know that I did. That is Snape. Snape, not off. My mistake, Moody said calmly. It's mine. Must have dropped it earlier. But Snape's black eyes were darting from the egg in Flit's arms to the map in Moody's hand, and Harry could tell he was putting two and two together as only Snape could. Potter, he said quietly. What's that? Said Moody calmly, folding up the map and cocking it. Potter, Snape sneered, and he actually turned his head and stared right at the place where Harry was, as though he could suddenly see him. Egg in Potter's egg. That piece of parchment belonged to Potter. I have seen it before. I recognize it. Potter is here. Potter in his invisibility cloak. Snape stretched out his hand like a blind man and began to move up the stair. Harry could have sworn his overlarge nostrils were dilating, trying to sniff Harry out. Trap Harry leaned backward, trying to avoid Snape's fingertip, but any moment now. There is nothing there, Snape, barked Moody. But I'll be happy to tell that headmaster how quickly your mind jumped to Harry Potter. Meaning what? Snape turned again to look at Moody, his hand still outstretched inches from Harry's chest, meaning that Dumbledore, very interesting to know who's got it into for that boy, said Moody, limping nearer still to the foot of the stair. And so I am very interested. The torchlight flickered across his mangled face, so that the scars and tongue missing from the nose, looking deeper and darker than ever, Snape was looking down at Moody, and Harry couldn't see the expression on his face for a moment. Nobody moved or said anything. Then Snape slowly lowered his hand. I merely thought, said Snape in a voice of forced calm, that if Potter was wandering around after hour again, it's an unfortunate habit of his. You should be stopped for his own safety. Oh, I see, said Moody softly. Got Potter's best interest at heart, have you? There was a pause. Moody were still staring at each other. Miss Norris gave a loud meow, still peering around Flitch's leg, looking for the source of Harry's bluebell bath smell. I think I will go back to bed, Snape said curtly. Best idea you have had all night, said Moody. Now, Flitch, if you'll give me that egg. No, said Flitch, clutching the egg as though it were his firstborn son. Professor Moody, this is evidence of Pew's treachery. It's the property of the champion he stole it from, said Moody. Hand it over now. Snape swept downstairs and passed Moody without another word. Flitch made a chirruping noise to Mr. Norris, who stared blankly at Harry for a few more seconds before turning and following her master. Still breathing very fast, Harry heard Snape walking away down the corridor. Flitch handed Moody the egg and disappeared from view too, muttering to Mrs. Norris, Never mind, my sweet, we'll see Dumbledore in the morning. Tell him what Pew's was up to. Her door slammed. Harry was left staring down at Moody, who placed his staff on the bottommost stair and stared or climbed laboriously toward him. All clunk on every other step. Close shave, Potter, he muttered. Yeah, thank you, said Harry weakly. Is the thing, said Moody, drawing the murderous map out of his pocket and unfolding it. Map of Hogwarts, said Harry, hoping Moody was going to pull him out of the staircase soon. His leg was really hurting him. Berlin bird, Moody whispered, staring at the map, his magical eye going high-wired. This some map, Potter. Yeah, it is. Quite useful, Harry said. His eyes were staring to water from the pain. Professor Moody, do you think you could help me? What? Yes, of course. Moody took hold of Harry's arm and pulled. Harry's leg came free to the trick step and he climbed onto the one above it. Moody was still gazing the map. Potter, he said slowly, you didn't happen by any chance to see who broke into Snape's office, did you? On this map, I mean, yeah, I did. Harry admitted it was Mr. Crouch. Moody's magical eye vised over the entire surface of the map. He looked suddenly alarmed. Crouch, he said. You're sure, Potter? Positive, said Harry. Well, he's not here anymore, said Moody, his eyes still wizarding over the map. Crouch, that's very interesting. He said nothing for almost a minute, still staring at his map. Harry could tell that this news meant something to Moody and very much wanted to know what he was. He wondered whether he dare ask. Moody scared him slightly, yet Moody had just helped him avoid an awful lot of trouble. Professor Moody, what do you reckon? Mr. Crouch wanted to look around Snape's office. Moody's magical eye left the map and fixed, hovering upon Harry. It was penetrating glare, and Harry had the impression that Moody was seizing him up, wondering whether to answer or not, or how much to tell him. Put it this way, Potter, Moody muttered finally. They say old man I obsessed with catching dark wizards. But I am nothing, not him, to Barry Barty Crouch. He continued to stare at the map. Harry was burning to know more. Professor Moody, he said again, do you think could this have anything to do with maybe Mr. Crouch think there is something going on? Like what? Said Moody sharply. Harry wondered how much he dare say. It wanted Moody to guess that he had a source of information outside Hogwarts that might lead to tricky question about Cyrus. I don't know, Harry muttered. Odd stuff been happening lately, wasn't it? It's been in the Daily Prophet, the Dark Mark at the World Cup, and the Death Eater and everything. Both of the Moody's mismatched eyes widened. You are a sharp boy, Potter, he said. His magical eye roared back to the murderous map. Crouch could be thinking along those lines, he said slowly, very possibly. There have been some funny rumors flying around lately. Helping along by Rita Seeker, of course. It's making a lot of people nervous, I reckon. I Grimm's smile twisted. His lopsided mouth. Oh, if there is one thing I hate, he muttered more to himself than to Harry, and his magical eye was fixed on the left-hand corner of the map. It's a Death Eater who walked free. Harry stared at him. Could Moody possibly mean that Harry thought he meant? And now I want to ask you a question, Potter, said Moody in more business-like tone. Harry heart sank. He had thought this was coming. Moody was going to ask where he had got this map, which was very dubious magical object, and the story of how it had fallen into his hand incriminated not only him but his own father, Fred and George Weasley, and Professor Lupin, their last defense against the dark art teacher. Moody waved the map in front of Harry, who braced himself. Can I borrow this? Oh, said Harry. He was very fond of this map, but on the other hand, he was extremely relieved that Moody wasn't asking where he had got it, and there was no doubt that he won Moody's favor. Yeah, okay, good boy, growled Moody. I can make good use of this. This might be exactly what I have been looking for, right, Bed? Potter, come on now. They climb up to the top of the stair together, Moody still examining the map as though it was treasure, the like of which he had never seen before. They walked in silence to the door of the Moody's office, where he stopped and looked up at Harry. You ever thought of career as a horror, Potter? No, said Harry, taken back. You want to consider it, said Moody, nodding and looking at Harry thoughtfully. Yes, indeed, incidentally, I'm guessing you weren't just talking that ache for a walk tonight. Oh no, said Harry, grinning. I have been working out the clue. Moody winked at him, his magical eye going haywire. Nothing like a night-time stroll to give you idea, Potter. See you in the morning. He went back into the office, staring down at Morpheus' map again, and closed the door behind him. Harry walked slowly back to Gryffindor's tower, lost in thought about Snape and Crouch and what it all meant. Why was Crouch pretending to be ill if he could manage to get to Hogwarts then wanted? Did he think Snape was concealing for in his office? And Moody thought Harry ought to be an author. Interesting idea, but somehow Harry thought as he got quietly into his poster 10 minutes lately. The egg and the clock now safely back in his trunk. He thought he had liked to check how scared his rest of them were before he closed it and a career. That's it for today. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for next chapter. Till then, see ya. Bye bye.